The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Well, welcome everyone to tonight's Habits of Health Zoom. My name is Nicole DeWard and I am a certified Optavia coach. So honored and excited to be with you all tonight. This call is specifically for clients of our Optavia program, for coaches, for health professionals, and even people checking us out. Maybe you've heard about Optavia and you're wondering, like, what is Optavia? Who is Optavia? Well, we are Optavia. And we could not be more excited to present tonight because this is all about community. And this call, the Habits of Health Zoom, is always about bringing people together for inspiration and education and how do we really move forward. And my intention tonight, as always, is to really inspire you to greatness. I hope that's what you get out of this tonight, is that you feel inspired to really move yourself forward. You know, tonight I volunteered. There's all different types of topics. And when you've done a Habits of Health, this time I got to pick which topic I wanted to cover. And through the grapevine, I've kind of heard, I've been coaching 7.5 years at this point. And the main thing that I hear most people wanting to know more about is the topic of transition. This idea of, what do I do next? And it made me think, I'm a mom, I've got 4 kids, and it made me think about when we go on vacation. So I'm putting my shades on. So when we go on vacation, we've got all of our stuff. We're ready, we've picked our destination, we're gonna be going to the beach, and we've got our GPS set, because we've never been there before. Maybe we've been there, but it's been a long time. And the car's packed. We've made sure that we've got our beach towels, and we've got our sunscreen, we've got our food, we've got our, whatever those boards are that kids like to skimmer things, whatever those are. So we've got it. We're ready because we've got the car packed. We've got a plan once we get there of all the things that we're going to do when we're on this beach vacation. And we've got our camera to journal all the moments that are created in this awesome vacation. And in the car, right, the kids are like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Why? Because we've planned, we've prepared, we're ready. And if we take all that intention, right, for going on vacation, how much more intention and planning and should we take for our own health? And so this is what we're going to talk about tonight, is this mindset, this idea of what do we do? What do we do? We know, most people come to the table with this idea that they want to lose some weight. I would say, I venture about 60 to 80% of people would tell you they're not quite where they want to be weight-wise. And so if we know that, there's this mindset of, okay, weight loss. I know what I need to do is lose weight. And there are tons of different ways that people can lose weight. All kinds of things on the market, all kinds of different people that are losing weight different ways, people inspiring others. We love it. Facebook is full of lots of ways that people can lose weight. With Optavia, we have a very specific way that we like to help people, which we call the 5-in-1. The 5-in-1 has been tested at Johns Hopkins University, studied at the National Institute of Health. It is proven by science. It's the gold standard. It's amazing. And it works. It gives us predictable transformation. It's science-based. And as a personal trainer, that's really important to me, to be science-based and to have it work really well and to know that I can count on that working every time when it's executed the way it's written. But what I find is that everybody kind of comes to the table with a different mindset. That's really the variable. The variable isn't the 5-in-1, because we all know that if you modify the plan, you get modified results. But the mindset that we come to the table with is what's going to really be the kicker. And so the mindset of 5 and 1 is this idea that there has to be some sort of structure, right? In order to lose weight, there's got to be a reduction in calories. So the body has excess calories. Let's say somebody would like to lose 1 pound. Well, that means they have 3,500 extra calories that their body needs to burn in order to burn that 1 pound of fat. So there's a mindset there that we know that something's got to be reduced in order for weight loss to ensue. So that often requires structure. So when we come to the table with this idea, we want to lose weight, we know we need to do something, now we have an offering. Okay, it's called the 5 and 1, this structure. So then after we've lost our weight, let's say we've lost 10 pounds, we've burned 35,000 calories because that's what it takes, right, to lose those 10 pounds. And you're at this crazy idea of transition, which I think is where most people get stuck. There's a little bit of fear, like, wait, but I like my structure. My structure is good. Like, I feel very free in this structure. I know what I can count on. I know how my body responds. I know how much energy I have and the freedom that's here. But then you're stuck. And it's like, you've got to be able to take a step forward and continue on in the journey. So in that transition phase, it's all about listening to the body. It's all about taking it slow and learning gradually this process of, as we increase calories, staying in the structure, right? That's as we begin to add things back in. Optimization. Who wouldn't want to optimize their life? Optimization is all about stepping into how your body was designed and created to be. Because we all know our bodies were not designed to carry around lots of excess fat stores, right? It really wreaks havoc on the body in so many ways when our body is carrying excess fat. And so the body fat reduction, once we're at a healthy weight, we have our weight loss phase, we get to a healthy weight, then we move into transition and begin to add things back in, listening to our body. And then we go into this optimization phase of really decreasing the body fat so that we can see the muscle that our body has, or we go into a phase of building some muscle. So Dr. A's book, In the Habits of Health, talks a lot about phases. And I couldn't agree more. So much of life is about a phase. So in phase 1, we have excess fat, we have lots of extra insulin, and lots of inflammation. And that's why we go into that weight loss phase to reduce that. So in phase 2, we are decreasing our fat, we're stabilizing our insulin so we don't live our life like this. And that's what everybody loves. Everybody loves this phase of, we used to feel like this, out of control, and now we are smooth sailing. We feel so good here. So there's fear that we're gonna miss out on this opportunity. And the reality is, it doesn't have to be that way. So as the inflammation comes down in that phase 2, is we're losing weight and feeling great, then we move into building muscle, increasing muscle, normalizing our insulin, and we really lower that inflammatory state. And then in that phase 4, this optimization phase, where we're still working on building that muscle, that insulin is real low. And when insulin is low, you guys, you don't feel this crazy feeling. And I think what happens in my 7.5 years of coaching, I have found that oftentimes there's fear because it's like you want to stop what you were doing, or maybe you feel like you're being told you got to stop this 5+1, and then you have to go back and do what you were doing. And that's absolutely not what transition is all about. So we're going to do a little math made easy. And I hope this helps. We're going to do some nuts and bolts now, which I'm sure a lot of you want. But I want you to remember, I started with mindset because it really is the key in understanding about what you really want. Dr. A in chapter 3 talks about structural tension, and structural tension says, where are you and where do you want to be? And in the weight loss phase, it's clear, right? I am 50 pounds overweight. I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, as we get there and you go to transition, it's the, are we there yet? It's the what's next? What am I going to do? So if we haven't readdressed the fact that we have to set a new goal, okay, now I'm 50 pounds down, and now what do I want? And if we miss that, there's nothing to continue to move toward, because it's like you reached a destination. And this wellness journey is not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's all about moving from where we are to where we want to be. And there's a structure and a process all the time about what that looks like, depending on what you want. So maybe it's at the beginning, I'm in pain, I'm 50 pounds overweight, and I can't keep up with my grandkids. And now you're 50 pounds down, you're running around with your grandkids, you're feeling excellent. So what's your motivating factor now, right? Because you've arrived. But you need to realign that. Now we're back here. Now I'm 50 pounds down, I'm playing with my kids, but now what do you want? Okay? So if we don't do that, we miss so much and we get stuck vacillating. So we're gonna go back to this idea of math, that there is this place of the 5 plus 1 adds up to 6. That's simple. 4 plus 2 adds up to 6. Again, a simple equation. And 3 plus 3, again, another way to add up to 6. And so I'm going to walk through these phases and what that looks like so that you can see how the nuts and bolts of what's going on. It is fair to mention that when you're in the 5 and 1 and you have this absolute structure, that does still take mindset. It is important to be working on your habits of health materials and really changing your mindset, but it is very structured and not super hard to execute, right? So sometimes there is fear and worry, especially when you don't want to go back to where you used to be. But I'm telling you, being stuck and not moving forward is the recipe for gaining your weight back. I see it so often that people can't move forward. And so we're going to talk a little about some analogies tonight that I really hope will help you all. Because my heart, like I told you at the beginning, is to really inspire you to greatness, that you were meant for more than this. You were not meant to live your life absolutely in weight loss your whole life, okay? You are meant to continue to move on and inspire others to have a life well lived just like you. So in the fat burning stage, in the 5 and 1, the body's put into a mild fat burning state. So when you execute that protocol, it helps the body to be able to rid those excess fat stores. A really great way to transition. There's some information in our Optavia guide of how to move through transition by adding a vegetable, by adding a fruit, adding a grain and a dairy, and doing these things gradually and slowly. And then coming out of fat burn, we're going to move to the 3 and 3. That's your goal. That's where you want to be, everybody. The goal, 3-3. We've got 3 meals and we've got 3 snacks. And that's understanding the needs of the body. You know, we want to move into that gradually. A great recommendation, moving from the 4-2 to the 3-3 is by at breakfast doing a protein and fruit combination with, of course, healthy fats, so that you're getting a protein, a carb, and a fat, keeping those in balance. I find too often that when people go into transition, they go back to an old way of living, like, well, I had an orange for a snack. Now I'm ravenous for dinner. I found myself eating the bag of chips while I was making dinner. Well, when we just ate an orange for a snack, that really didn't give our body protein to slow the drip of insulin, which is what we're really looking for. It's what our body was accustomed to when we were doing the 5 and 1. So let's continue to add protein at every meal. It doesn't have to be from an animal source. It needs to be a lean protein, but it doesn't always have to be from an animal. You can get protein in other sources. And there's a great exchange list on their website as well as in the book. So I've got a great analogy for you. Hopefully there's some 80s people loving The Price is Right on the call tonight, because it was my favorite game show growing up. And my favorite game was called One Away. And this game, One Away, the people went up and they had this opportunity to win this great car. And Bob would, and the announcer would do it, and Bob would say, okay, you're gonna play this game, and these are the numbers, and you need to tell me if it's one away, so it's up or down, and you get to pick. And so they would pick all their numbers, and then they'd have to say, ladies, do I have at least one number right? And then what you're all waiting for, right, is the honk. Honk! And you would hear this, yes, you got it, you got it, you got the right answer. Okay, they have one number right, so they're, okay, ladies, do I have at least two numbers right? Honk! So the goal, of course, is to get all 5 numbers right, and then they win the car. So my analogy here, I hope you're following me, is in the 5 and 1, I feel like I'm gonna give them the honk, right? Like, okay, all I need you to do is get one number right. And then my client gets to go, honk, right? I got one meal right, Nicole. It's so good. Like, I feel so good. I got this one number right. And I say, are you ready for 2? How do you feel about getting 2 meals right? And they're like, honk. So are you following me? I hope this is helpful, because it's so empowering when you can get it right. I know all of you on the call tonight are wanting a win. And so much of your health journey maybe hasn't felt so much of a win. It's felt like I keep repeating the same crap all the time, and you feel stuck, and you feel shame, and you can't face yourself, and you wait till Monday. All of these things are excuses. And so we have to say, all right, what is it that I want, and how can I get it? What do I need? And really staying hip to hip, right? Connected with your coach, who is there to help you walk this journey, and it is not meant to walk alone. And when we veer off the path, right, it's okay to have regression. So what that might look like, let's say you're at a place where you moved from the 4-2 to the 3-3, you're getting 3 meals right, and all of a sudden life happens. Your dog dies, and you're like, how am I going to execute my food, because I'm having all these emotional eating things coming up? As coaches, we are not counselors or therapists. We have a structure to help you follow. We are in it with you, but emotional eating, we have a lot of strategies in the Habits of Health and Stop, Challenge, Choose, but really at the end of the day, it is okay. I want you all to hear me. Seasons of life, it is okay for regression. There is a regression and progression. That's okay. It's in the fitness world too. And I'm about ready to give you a really great fitness analogy, so I hope you all can go with me on it here. But there's tons of resources. If all of you would do me a favor, and on coachanswers.optavia.com, you can find these questions like, what do I do when I'm at my goal weight, right? You can figure out, it has a transition plans. You can go click on the TEE calculator, but be mindful that as you move from the 3 and 3, you've got 3 meals and 3 snacks, to your 3 Optavia and your 2 lean and green, and then your protein and fruit, we've now going to gradually add in a grain. We're going to add in dairy, and you continue to gradually add other food groups to what you're eating, and listen to your body. If you have a yogurt and you have the worst gas you have had in months, the yogurt's out, okay? Like, listen to your body. If you have a piece of bread and you feel completely bloated, don't eat the bread. Like, it's not worth it. I promise you, your body will thank you for it. Listen to your body. And don't add too many things at one time, because you're not gonna know which one it is. That's the beauty of being at the 5 and 1, and gradually moving slowly into adding things in, and giving yourself the freedom to say, okay, well, that didn't work for me, so now what am I gonna do? Again, staying hip to hip with your coach so that they can walk this with you. It is fair to let you know that using MyFitnessPal or a tool like that when you're in the 3 and 3 is helpful, because sometimes we tend to have bites of things when there's a little more freedom, that there's a little more bites than you actually thought. So there's a statistic that there's about 40% underreporting in calories. So I think it's safe to say and fair that to be mindful of measuring and weighing. My digital scale at my house is a staple. It is on my counter, it is on my table all the time. I've been in this industry 11 years and I still weigh my food every time I eat. And why? Because there's something I want more than where I am now. And if you're not clear about what you really want, you'll stop weighing your food, you'll stop measuring, you won't plan and prepare, you'll wing it. And anytime you wing it, you're gonna wing it in your body. And so that's where we kind of get stuck. And then we start shaming ourselves again and get into that cyclical pattern. So I would recommend that you stay in that place of saying, okay, what do I want again? And why is it worth it? And when you wake up in the morning, decide to do it again. So here we go. We're on to my fitness analogy, which I hope is helpful for you. Okay. When people want to lose weight, they tend to get to this point of, I'm all in. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to exercise, and then I'm going to log all my food. I'm going to prep it all. I have those pretty little glass containers, so I don't keep my food in plastic. Like, I'm going all in. I'm going to get a personal trainer, and then I'm going to do massage every week. I mean, they just go well-being crazy, and they add all of these things. And that, to me, if you've ever been at a gym and they have these big, giant racks of weights, right? It's like walking up to the weight rack with the biggest weight. Okay, this is only 30 pounds, but it looks really big on camera. So they pick up the biggest weight and they're like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna lift. And then they start lifting, they try and lift this 30-pound weight and they can't lift it. They're trying so hard and then they end up getting injured trying to lift this weight. And here we come, health coach, Optavia coach, and we say, here, I think you can lift this. Let me show you. You can lift this 3-pound weight, and we're gonna lift this 3-pound weight enough times to teach you a pattern. We're gonna get into a pattern of weight, I'm reading the chat. We're gonna get into this pattern of lifting this weight to get our muscle ready. Then you know what? Then we can move up to a 5, and then we can move up to an 8. And as your body is ready, you can continue to lift more and more. And I don't know if you've been to a group fitness class lately, but everybody's lifting 8s and 10s. Like for years upon years upon years, everybody's lifting an 8 or a 10. And the problem with an 8 or a 10 is we kind of get stuck, right? We get stuck into this place of not moving forward. Why are we not lifting a 30? Women, y'all can lift a 30, but you don't want to start there. You got to build to be able to lift a 30, okay? So that is something that you can grow into. But just like with anything else, in a season in life, if maybe you like tinge your elbow a little bit because you went up a little too fast, too soon, are you going to keep trying to lift the 30? No, regression. We move back and say, you know what? I think I need some more time at the 25 or even the 20. I got to give that elbow a little time to heal. Okay? So listen to your body. It's so important to take it simple. So many of us heap all of these things on top of ourselves, saying that we should do this and we should do that. Remember that it takes time to develop patterns. It takes time to develop all of those little muscle fibers so that you can really get your body into a place that is ready. All right, when I first started lifting weights, I could not lift a 30, just to be clear. But lifelong transformation is what we're going for. That's our ultimate goal. And lifelong transformation doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a summer. It doesn't happen in I'm gonna try this for 30 days, right? Our program works because this is about lifelong transformation. If in your mind, you're thinking about, okay, well, how is this gonna work for me? And will it work for so-and-so, but it doesn't work for me? I guarantee it's all about what's going on here, okay? This is what trips us up the most. One of my favorite little cartoons is the little brain that's holding the muscle or holding the weights up, showing its muscles. And that's what this is like. Your brain is what needs to work. And every time you talk to your coach, you have an opportunity to grow personally and about who you are and who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world. It's not about the food, you guys. There are some nuts and bolts, but your mind will tell you what to eat all the time. So your mind's got to be right. So we want to continue to increase our exercise based on our goals, being mindful that if I'm actually logging my calories appropriately, that's where I will grow to. But you don't want to go from the 5 and 1 and jump to the TEE. Your body's going to go, what? Please remember that even coming out of 5 and 1, coming out of the fat burn stage and moving into burning glycogen, your body will pick up 3 pounds of water just from the body going, that's a great question. TEE is the amount of calories your body burns at rest, plus your activity, plus your exercise, okay? So TEE, total energy expenditure, is what that stands for. So great question. So when you move from the 3 and 3, I know that in the 5 and 1, it's not required to exercise, that it's important to make sure that you're along the way increasing your exercise so that when you're at the 3 and 3 and you're eating your 3 meals and 3 snacks, getting what you need, because that's what's important. You got to fill those buckets, right? Fill the buckets of what you need so that when it's a birthday party and you'd like to have a piece of cake or you'd like to have a glass of wine, your exercise can take care of those excess calories. You can't do it all the time. So we don't want to make that a daily or several times a day pattern, right? Because we now have freedom and we go crazy. Remember that there can be some regression if the mindset's not right. So remember the rubber band, that analogy, that tension. Where are we now? And where do we want to be? And I would really suggest that you look at that every week. How can I move from where I am to where I want to be? And what does that look like for me? How do I want to show up in the world so that not only I can live my best life, but I can inspire others to do the same? Thank you so much for joining our Habits of Health call tonight. I hope and pray that this was helpful for you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I know that this is a tough subject. And I know many of you are probably struggling, feeling stuck, or maybe you've been here a lot. But I want you to know that it's all worth it. So keep moving forward, keep growing, stay hip to hip with your coach, and I know that you will move forward and make it the best that you can.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.